All right, so I've got an 8-foot 2x4 here, and we'll use this to determine the height of our second bracket. So what I've done here is I'll just use my level and level this, and this is right here is will be the top of the bracket, and I put a little mark in there. I've already shot this, so I just didn't get the audio in it, but so that's how we would determine that. This 8-foot 2x4 is basically the same length as our structural timber. All right, so we've got the holes drilled and our spacers in, so we'll run this lag in here a few inches, and then before we do anything else, we'll double check that we're level and square and everything. Let this thing go in there a couple inches, and it will pretty much show what we're going to be there. Both brackets are installed. I got my 2x4 across. Let's see how we did. I can live with that. So that was hard work getting those bolts in, I'll tell you what. So we got to determine now how wide of a beam can we get. The ones I've got cut are 4 inches. I'm just kind of eyeballing here. If we went 3, we're still going to hit. We're going to hit the tree there for sure. And yeah, you know what we might need is about a 3x6, a 3x6, or we notch that tree a little bit. That bark is pretty thick. Oh, decisions here. All right, so here's the first timber that we're going to put up on the new brackets. It measures currently 4x8, and that's going to be too thick, obviously. So I've got the chainsaw mill set at 3 inches, and we will take an inch off of this. I'll recut it real quick, and we'll take it up there. Sometimes you just need to take it up there and sit it into place, and then we can see if we can come up with a plan. But I think we're getting close here. There it is. These are the little hardwood wedges that I make. Just before you cut through, you stick those wedges in there, and it keeps it from pinching your saw blade when you're coming out. You can stick anything in there. So there is our freshly minted full dimension 3x8. That's nice proportion wise. I think it's really nice. That was a tree a week ago. And now it's going to be a tree house. It's interesting. Okay, well, let's heft it out there. Well, you know what? We need a little detail on here. We need a little fancy on there. Let's cut that now. Okay, boy, I almost made a dreadful mistake. Just about cut this wrong. I was going to cut this angle on here, kind of finish that off, so it just doesn't look, it looks unfinished when they're that way, just a block on the edge. So I was going to put a nice little angle on there, and I got to thinking I might be crowding. Look at that bracket. I would have had to recut this, so I'm going to make it a little bit steeper right there. So that will be, I'll just bob that off, and that'll give that a little bit more of a custom look. So I'm going to freehand this with the chainsaw on the mini mill. All right, let's boost it up. You grab the bottom, hold on, ready? And go. Watch the van. I got it. Okay, step away.
How many pounds did you say that is?
Oh, a couple 100 pounds. It's really wet, green, it's really heavy. Oh, all right. Well, that's all we got. All right, for the final step here, we're going to put our keepers. I forgot to mention these brackets right here. You can buy something really similar to this at Home Depot, but it's really thin. These are really nice and heavy. I got these, you can get these from a junkyard out of any old Ford van. It's the seat brackets. And I've got a whole bunch of them laying around here because I've had so many vans that I always save them because they're just really nice brackets. So we'll, let's see, we'll center this here, right on our, between our bracket there. And then we're going to lag in. I'm just going to pre-drill these with a small 1/4 inch paddle bit. So to lag these in, I'm just going to use these 2-inch galvanized lag bolts with a heavy washer. And so this on here. Size-wise, these are probably 1/2 inch or so. I'd say 1/2 inch by 2. They're not carrying any of the weight of the structure. They're simply, the lag bolts are just simply holding up the bracket. So that's way more than enough. So there it is. The first finished beam and a very satisfactory bracket set up there. I'm really happy with that. It works so great. I did have to chip a little bit of the tree. There just wasn't any way around it. Notched a little bark out of the top right there. That'll scab over, it's fine, to give plenty of clearance. But you can see here that we got movement this way. And of course side to side. There we go. It'll run that full length. So if the tree moves or grows a little bit, you know, we'll always watch it. This tree is not going to grow very fast, and we have some adjustability there. So that is a great system. The washer keeps it from, it can't possibly come off. It won't come off anyway because it'll all be tied together with the floor joists, all notched and nailed together. But even so, it's not going to jump over that because this bracket won't let it. It can't lift up high enough to get over that. So I think that is really great. So is it level? The proof's in the pudding, huh? I haven't checked it yet. It takes courage to do this here without pre-checking, huh? Whoops, how's that? It's not too bad, huh? There's it. Which bubble is it? Dead level. No shimming. Man, the house is only as good as a foundation. When you start with a crooked foundation, it affects everything that you do. You just end up chasing it to the very end, and you leave a terrible job for the finish guys. You know, and so having having it flat, you know, makes a big difference. It's just the way it should be done. It's not always possible, but well, my dad always says you strive for perfection and you end up with mediocre. that's just the case. It's just the way it is, isn't it? The brackets, you know, would have been nice had I had some foresight, you know, to try to make these a little bit longer, so I wouldn't have had to notch the tree. But well, you know, we'll know on the next one. So I've never done a tree house before.